Hello, my name is Matcha Bunny, and today I'm going to be playing a new game. So it is a horror game. Um, I know nothing about it whatsoever. I haven't seen any videos of it. I just downloaded it because of the name. And the name of it is Tiny Bunny. Um, I know nothing whatsoever. We're gonna see how this goes. Um, Let me just adjust my computer a little bit. There we go. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna double check I can play this with. Um. Ooh. It will read text for me. Cool. I don't know if I can have to play it on controller, or if I have to do other things. We'll find out. Um. Yeah. So I figured it'd be a good break for the Project Cat stuff because I wasn't figuring out the other endings. So, this will be our fun little in between until I go back to Project Cat. Okay, the wind clawed at my window all night long. It wandered the fields and howled like a hungry beast. An endless song weaved from all sorts of voices, shrill, gentle, sneery, twinned in the air. They were shouting and laughing and arguing about something. Someone was running through the snow while casting long shadows that would occasionally creep close to my bed. Our house had a mind of its own, the creaky old mind of a building that has seen a lot in its days and was seemingly trying to share its wisdom with its inhabitants. Is it? Or is it trying to kill you? The lonely house faced the forest, and the dark green thickness gazed back with its hollow eyes, rustling, whistling? Yeah, and swaying back and forth. One could come out and stand at the edge of the forest to reassure themselves there was nobody behind the crooked trees. Fuzzy silhouettes swaying in the wind couldn't possibly do any harm. It's just a play of light and shadow. Just a play. I knew it was just my imagination. It was already 12 after all. Still. Oh, the fox! There's a fox right there. Hey, put away your book. How many times have I told you not to read at the table? It's bad for your health. Look how slouched you are. I didn't protest and put the book about Conan the Barbarian aside. I was stuck on a line I couldn't understand after reading it 3 times anyways. Ola, Oya? I'm gonna go with Olia. Olia, yeah. Has already finished her breakfast and was munching on some cookies. She was enthusiastic. She almost looked like your typical girl from commercials. You're not going anywhere until you finish it, all of it. I, on the other hand, was still trying to drill a hole in the plate with my eyes, as if it would make the porridge disappear. Hazy anxiousness welled up inside, all because of a previous sleepless night. The black forest all around our house, and the gloomy wind. The longer I waited, the colder the lumpy white substance became. It looked like a jellyfish from Kashin Odyssey. I love that show. I wonder how horrifying the bottom of the ocean is. Or how cold the Black Forest is at night. The spoon fell out of my hand. My mom showered me with a cold glare from her green eyes. What did I say? I'll get it. I had 10 seconds to catch my breath before battling the nasty porridge once again. I felt around for the spoon. What is this carved on the other side of the table? Karina? That's my mom's name. I guess she carved it out with something pointy when she was little. She sure was a rascal, damaging furniture like that. She would scold me for a week if I did something similar, though. I should remember. Should I remind her about it? No, she's been in a bit of a bad mood lately. I imagine her being my age, sitting under the table. I wonder, was Mom afraid of the dark back then? Or the sounds coming from the attic? Or the thick forest? I imagined my grandma coming into my little mom's room, sitting at the edge of her bed, where Olia sleeps nowadays, saying that this in her soft, smooth voice. Taiga is a special place, little girl. It's watching you closely, sniffing you out, trying to discern what kind of beast you are. If you are a good sort, it won't abandon you in times of trouble. But if you're a bad apple, it'll grab you by the side and drag you under the ground. And that would be it. Grandma was caring. She never fought with anyone, never yelled, never swore. There were the times without the maddening screams until late at night, without smashed dishes and mutual accusations. Our parents used to love each other back then. I remember listening in on one of their conversations by chance. They were talking about Grandma getting prepared for her funeral. She had already bought a casket, and she called it her cute funeral box. It waited for its time in the closet, patiently. It was black, upholstered with meat-colored material on the inside. I saw it when my grandma was getting buried. The house didn't change since the time she was alive. Only all the photos were gone. Glass-covered pictures with grave faces of my ancestors. They all had a dead but watchful look in their eyes. I crawled out from under the table. Olia was done with her cookies and was looking at my share like a sly woodland critter. I turned my gaze towards the frosted window. There were lots of dark pines outside, but they didn't grab my attention. The pattern of the frost formed a picture on the glass. Olia, look, it's a fox. Where? It looked almost like those optical illusion things they put on the back of students' notebooks. A mixture of lines at first glance, but if you blur your vision a little bit and look under a certain angle. No, not outside, on the window. Look, here's the nose, and here's... Hey, eat up. Yes, just a moment. I don't see anything. Hurry up, there's not much left.
Ah, there it is, but it still doesn't look like one.
And I'm telling you it does.
Nuh-uh.
It does. Stop it. These kids, I swear. Now I couldn't see the fox either. It disappeared. Went away. Only the frosty pattern similar to stretched out nettle leaves kept creeping up on the glass. My dad entered the kitchen with a long, measured steps. I want to have a beard like his when I grow up. Mom would always ask, joking, like, come on, shave it off, it stings. This was so long ago. Nowadays, rumbling doors and witty comebacks were an everyday occasion. Olia always covers her ears whenever she hears something like, what's the point of all this? Though, through the wall. It's all for your sake, Dad would reply, for the sake of our family. I always caught every sound in fear of hearing the most dreaded, the deadliest word that started with a D. D-I-V-D. I don't even want to finish it. It was scary to imagine that me and my little sister could be torn apart and taken to two different families.
Anyways, your fox is nothing. I have an owl on my window.
You and your owl talk again.
You said you'd believe me just yesterday.
Has anyone seen my car keys? I remember leaving them on the windowsill. Right. Maybe you did, maybe not. You're a grown man, and the father too, and still... Katrina, please, stop. Just let me get ready in peace.
Your keys are in the basket near the phone.
Well, thank you very much. Anton, stop making a martyr out of yourself and finish eating already.
And the owl?
There's no owl.
But there was one. It had giant glowing eyes.
Olia sprung up from the chair and placed her hands on her little face, imitating the pair of eyes with her fingers the size of an apple each. Last year you had a Barbie in your closet. Now this owl.
But I saw it.
Olia shifted her gaze back and forth from Dad to Mum to me, but couldn't find any support. Have you thought about befriending it? You know, like feeding it with imaginary mice?
Don't bully our girl.
She's just afraid to sleep alone because she's still little. Olia pouted her lips in rebellion and rushed into the hallway. The staircase that led to the second floor creaked. Mom gave Dad a strict look. Oh, that look in her eyes. It is so uncomfortable to be pinned under it. Dad just snorted in reply and left, ringing with keys he just found. A minute passed, and the theme song from The Little Mermaid echoed through the house. It was stored on incredibly worn-out cassette tape, which Dad already had glued together once. It was so easy to fix objects by gluing them back together, for example. But how do you fix a relationship? Mom moved into the living room, and I was left alone, anxiously stealing glances at the window. Alia had trouble sleeping ever since we moved into this house. She would toss and turn, or curl up into a ball under her blanket. Sometimes she would jump up in the middle of the night and turn on the VCR. Cartoons helped her take her mind off the troubles we had with the move and our parents. And Alia said she saw a giant flying monster outside her window. She became obsessed with it. Our parents did everything in their powers They tried every little trick to get rid of those ridiculous fears. Ollie refused to sleep alone and didn't believe that the owl was just one of her nightmares. After tonight, I was unsure what to make of my sister's words, what to think of it myself. Can nightmares be infectious? Just last night, I couldn't get a wink of sleep, and ended up thinking of what to expect in my new school. There were a couple of days left before the beginning of the new term. Turning down the music on my end. My imagination drew long twisted hallways that led to a classroom full of kids. All the students behind their desks were simply dark figures, cut out using a template. Circular holes gapped in the middle of their faces, and a pair of eyes blinking inside those holes. It was as if some completely different creature were looking at me from behind the flat black silhouettes. Their cruel glares, filled with icy sneers, made me shiver from head to toe. Will I survive here? Won't they gang up on me and beat me down? Stomp on me with their bloodied shoes? The damn school can burn for all I care. I just wish for anything to happen to it. Doesn't really matter what. I don't want to go there. That's badly. I don't want to see people who are just itching to smack me on the head, trip me up, think of new offensive names for me, worse than previous ones. I felt like the glasses I wore made me an outsider or some sort of monster. My gaze slid across the drawings hanging on the wall. I couldn't consider myself a great artist, but Olia begged me to hang them. Drawing was the only thing that made me happy as of late. The small circle of friends I had also enjoyed my paintings, and they promised to call me from time to time. Sometimes I imagined my mom picking up the phone and saying in a cold voice, "You've got the wrong number." Or, "Anton isn't around." Anton is not around. I imagined my future classmates lying in their beds just like me, listening to howls of invisible werewolves outside their windows. Maybe my new classmates will like me after all. But who would ever like a boy with thick glasses? I mean, my dad used to wear glasses when he was little, and now he's married to the most beautiful woman on the planet, my mom. The house creaked, pressed by the wind. The condo we lived in, a 9-floor concrete building, buzzed with neighbors' drill, mumbles with the TV set from behind the wall, cried like a baby from the big family next door. Our current house, though, I can't really call it new, was completely different. It was silent and easy going during the day. Its shadows lay dormant in the corners, on the closet, cobwebs, and under the stairs. But they all woke up at the night. Something was watching me from every corner, as if the old photos of my deceased family, with their ashen eyes, were hanging on the wall in places of my drawings. The floor was squeaking, rusty drains were moaning. The attic was occupied by noisy drafts. One could think the house was performing some sort of demonic melody. And then I realized I was, in fact, hearing music. It was already playing for a good while. Somewhere at the edge of my perception, I could hear flute. It was mixed with the sound of the wind, of creaking old house, and my thoughts too. I stood up and rushed to the window. I wanted to reassure myself that the music was nothing more than a product of my imagination. It's not like someone's playing it there. amidst the cold, snowy night. Right? Huh. Someone was dancing in the field. Black silhouettes I could barely make out, with the dark forest as their backdrop. They jumped around, basked in the moonlight, bumped into piles of snow, rolled around, and crawled on all four. Stories about wolves playing under the moon came to mind, but these were clearly not wolves. They stood upright at times, circled around, holding hands, and whipping up snow, disappearing into the shadows for a brief moment, and then coming back. Something bizarre was going on. Shadows dancing in the starless abyss made my imagination go wild, making me anxious at the same time. Suddenly, music stopped. The dancing shadows froze in place, and I could swear pierced me with their eyes. One of the silhouettes immediately parted from the bizarre shadow carnival and sprinted across the field with giant leaps. Boom! It glided on squeaky snow without leaving any prints until it was devoured by the pitch black shadow of my house, which became even darker and thicker. My heart jumped around like a bird inside a cage. I shut the curtains with a swift motion and stepped back towards the bed. They saw me. A freezing torment of fear washed over me. I stood in the middle of a perfectly dark room and listened to some unwanted guests move and scrape around, looking for an entrance. The sound moved to the right, then circled around the house. Now my guests should be at the front door. I jumped into bed and covered myself with a blanket as if it could protect me. The shackles of fear locked my muscles. I remembered the funeral. My grandmother lying there, hands crossed on her chest, her facial features sharp like that of a tin doll. I'm waiting for something to fucking barge in at this point. I don't know what, but something. Ants running up and down the legs of the chairs that held my grandma's casket. I imagined those little creatures climbing on her head, pulling up her eyelids with their tiny legs. Then her wrinkled eyeballs would once again move inside their sockets, and she'd be able to see her grandchildren. I was chattering the spell that she taught me throughout the whole and now, lying under the blanket and listening to the squeaks and howls, I was repeating the same words. Bouillon? Okay. On the Isle of Bouillon, underneath the blemished sun, in the sea of color blue, stands the cabin made of wood. There lay Lord, the ashen hair, for spawned from the devil's hair, to feast and always leave alone, God's faithful servant named Anton. Evil leave this house must, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Bizarre sounds had disappeared. Don't peek from under the blanket, sir. I cautiously peeked out from under the blanket and saw the curtains waving around like a hangman. And then the night dashed me with a new portion of boiling terror. The sound of scratched at my eardrums, and realizing something or someone was scratching at the front door, hurriedly crawling at the wood, demanding to be let in. The door was shut. Dad had become very cautious recently, so I installed a sturdy lock. I remember him staring at the forest intently as if he was looking for someone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I hugged my knees, placed my chin between them, and drilled the door with my eyes. It was so flimsy and weak before the night might of darkness. And then the doorknob twitched slightly. Then it turned halfway, once, twice, as if someone who tried to enter had no hands. The doorknob tilted once more, and then started clinking violently. My jaw clamped from fear. My wet fingers clutched the blanket. The door cracked open. The wind taunted me, moaning inside the tin drains. Now you'll see. The door was wide open. The darkness was with inside the...
I see an eye.
Inside the carnivorous mouth of a doorway. Tony? It was as if the night itself was calling out to me, flapping its black wings, squawking rusty hinges. I was trembling, ensnared by the web of darkness that hung in the corner of my room, waiting for the one who weaved it to come out, gasping black hole. Tony. My abdomen tightened and my chest rose up, ready to exhale a desperate scream. But before I was able to do anything, the darkness asked me, Tony, you asleep? Wait, there's definitely an eye behind the little sister though, right? Okay, my sister's pale face protruded from the thick dark shadows. I almost screamed from relief. Oh yeah, I'm not sleepy. Did something happen? Oh. Olia frowned and stuck out her lower lip, a clear sign she was about to cry. It's there again, staring at me. Show her away, Tony, please. I'm so scared. The fear was tormenting me just a minute ago, crawling away and hide somewhere in my stomach. I needed to calm Olia down. It was just a dream, Sally. Don't be scared. Dreams don't bite. No one's gonna harm you. Olia sobbed. She was trying her best to believe me. But was I sure myself? I have an idea. Let's go to your room and watch the video. Sleeping Beauty, for example. You like that cartoon, don't you? Why does the Sleeping Beauty have a prince and I have this scary bird? That question took me by surprise. Alright, let's watch Cinderella. My thoughts became tangled fuzzy. What was that? And suddenly, though it studied what studied me with its eyes while dancing fiercely under the moon? The darkness was clinging to the window, and it couldn't be fooled by Grandma's old chants. It couldn't be satisfied with a feast of lard and long ashen hair.
Tony, you coming?
Yes, just a moment. There it is! Yeah! I knew something was gonna happen. Wait, is Tony dead? Is Tony dead? That's why I didn't want to laugh at Olia and her owl in the morning. Who could be visiting us here in the middle of nowhere? We don't know anyone around here. So persistent. I felt extremely unsettled from the English thought that our morning guests could have come from the woods. Replying to a text message. I felt extremely unsettled just from the silly thought that our morning guests would have come from the woods. I could barely hear voices from the front door. My mind was urging me to hide in the closet, under the table, behind the curtains where Olia always hides. Tony, come here. I felt like and kettlebells were trying to my feet, but still dragged them towards the hallway. A couple of policemen towered over me in the doorway. They smelled like frost and worry. My mom always winced and grumbled the moment she saw patrol cars worse than bandits. At that moment, though, she looked somewhat confused. Hello? The senior officer, who wore a grim expression, nodded. A boy has gone missing yesterday. His name's Vola. Look at this, please. Have you seen him? The policeman held out a photograph to me. It was a ginger boy around the age of elementary school, pictured with a well carpet as the backdrop. He had a striped cat in his hands and wore a wild smile. No, I haven't. Are you sure? Look closely. Where would I see him? I don't know anyone around here. I barely leave the house. Well, maybe you've seen him from the window? That's right. Your window looks straight to the forest, don't they? The window. No, I haven't seen anything. I see. He sounded tired, but his eyes, his stare, long, heavy, was full of suspicion? I squirmed unwittingly under the weight of guilt which his giant shadow cast over me. The policeman finally tore his eyes from me and glanced over the hallway, the stairwell, and the cracks in the ceiling, which I haven't noticed before for some reason. How do you like your new place, by the way? Getting used to it? Bit by bit. It's just our little daughter misses the city a lot. Misses the city, huh? Have the locals been treating you well? Yes, everything is all right. Thank you. The policeman pierced through me once more. One more time with his gray eyes. My head started spinning. Can I help you somehow? I asked that in a shaky voice to look at the polite boy and to end this unpleasant conversation sooner. Now that I think about it, you look just like one of my nephews, little fella. He's a witty boy around your age, wears the same type of goggles. Always engrossed in reading those mystery novels. Told me he wants to enroll in police school when his family visits this summer. Wanted to help the other people just like me, see? I felt uncomfortable, as if a distant relative and not a police officer stood before me. You know what? Little boys like you should stay at home. Steer away from trouble. The times have changed so much. My mom interjected in a cold voice. Don't say. You don't say. Well then. What grade are you in, Tony boy? 6th. Have you made any friends yet so far? Not yet. I'll be going to school for the first time after the break. Then I'll leave you and my number just in case. Call me if you have any new info. I don't trust this policeman. The policemen were gone, along with their shadows, the smell of cheap cologne, and the photo of a smiling boy. His face still before my eyes. I wonder what it was like for him, being all alone there. For some reason, I thought of the forest swaying in the wind. What did his poor parents feel? What would my parents do if I went missing? And we're gonna save really fast. Empty slot. Okay. However, this music's really loud. Is going to be the end of this episode. If you liked this episode and would like to see more, please remember to like and subscribe. And I will see you next time. Bye.